So about a year ago, Pastor Scott started talking about 2020 being the year of plenty. And so Kelsey and I started looking back on our year and trying to take inventory of the things that God has done for us in that year. And we both kind of felt guilty about it because the news labeled 2020 like this terrible year, and not to discredit. There was obviously some great tragedy in that year, but there were some great advances in the kingdom of God as well, especially in our lives. The first one being the time that was restored to us with our child. Our first child, Nora, was diagnosed with cancer at 6 weeks, and so her life ended up being 10 weeks here on earth with us in our arms. And we started to think back on this year, and us both being in education, we both got moved home to work.
Yeah.
And so I started to do the math, and our new son Harvey, who was born in November of 19, we ended up getting 7 times that time with him, which brought healing to us. So it ended up being 28 weeks that we got to spend at home with Harvey.
I didn't have to miss a minute.
You didn't have to miss
with
a minute.
him. I got
No.
to see all the first and things that I felt were taken from us with our first kiddo.
Yeah. And so that brought healing to both of us. And then there were some other things that happened that year. It was in July. Harvey actually had his first seizure, and we didn't know anything about that. We took him to the hospital, and so we couldn't figure out what it was. There was no diagnosis.
Every scan we did, everything was clear. And there was no reason to have a diagnosis of epilepsy that they put on him.
We took it to Scott, and he said, you know, I'm not going to lay hands on him right now. He said, give me a week. He said, first, let's have a conversation. And so we both sat down with him and kind of told him what was going on. And he happened to be teaching a series over Jonah. And he said, sometimes, you know, there's storms. And he encouraged us to go home, have conversations just as husband and wife, pray together.
It was clear that, you know, the storm was, in this particular season, was with me and my unbelief in healing, and that was really hard for me moving forward, especially with Harvey coming up again with another medical issue. And that was a storm that I was having to work through yet again. And so part of the training, if you will, for that was for me to speak these things over Harvey and to believe this every day. And I did that. I did it every single morning and still speak those things over him, but I just have this rest. And you said on Sunday, I'm not going to get it right, but you said when you hit that point, it's done.
Yeah.
And so even this Sunday, that was huge for me. And that comes just from that peace of knowing that God did heal Harvey. He healed him right here today.
You continued praying, we continued standing, and it was after that weekend. He hasn't had one since, and that was September of 2020. And so he's healed, and we're getting more comfortable saying that now, that he is healed. You know, it's okay to rest in that. And so it was a good year for us. 2020 ended up being a blessing for our family.
It was a year of plenty.
It was a year of plenty.